Feel late time tayo ang fanfast mai. Le fionga sui Palamia Malo New Zealand or your lo avea mo Palamia acting Prime Minister at the moment or to say Palamia New Zealand or your or the Foreign Affairs Minister. New Zealand le fionga Vaovasamanaia Honorable Winston Peters fatis maltano proclame ele nei for itime. Good morning Talo Falava lo fionga Right Honorable Acting Prime Minister Vaovasamanaia Winston Peters. Welcome to Radio Samoa.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on.
How are you this morning, sir?
I'm very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you once again for your time. And from all of us here, congratulations on the coalition government and for your long service for Aotearoa, New Zealand. Will this be your third or second or third time as Deputy Prime Minister? And looking at how has your time been so far compared to when you were Deputy Prime Minister under Jacinda Ardern's government, Labour government?
Yeah, it is the third time, and the third time as Foreign Minister as well. And how it compares is that things are much more heightened or urgent now in the world, but also in the Pacific. And so we've very firmly got back into government and reinforced the fact that we are a Pacific country, that we are part of the Blue Continent, and we've already gone to 11 of the Pacific Islands Forum's countries, and by the end of this year we'll have gone to the whole lot. We wanted to signal that we wanted to be, for the right reasons, a solid, reliable partner of Pacific countries. Not because we just think it's a good foreign affairs slogan, but because our DNA goes into the Pacific way back, going for thousands of years, coming from the Pacific, and we ended up here at the Maori side, just north of the Penguins. We went the furthest, so to speak. Maybe we got pushed out. We don't know what the scenario is. Everybody's working on that anthology. But the truth is, we're part of the Pacific, and as a Foreign Minister, I've had a chance to reinforce that we had a Pacific reset in 2018 when I last had the job, and we've had the same reset now, and talking to Pacific countries, or better still, listening to them as to their concerns.
Okay, thank you. And Honourable Winston Peters, surely you are uniquely the only current member of Parliament who was actually in Parliament even before 1982. What is your personal view on Te Anau Tioto restoring citizenship removed by Citizenship Western Samoa Act 1982 bill?
You're right, I was there going back to 1978. Now, don't get it wrong, because I can hear what they're going to say. But I ran into a man called Mahathir many years ago, and 21 years after he'd left Parliament, he came back in Malaysia to be their Prime Minister at 93 years of age. And I met him with Jacinda Ardern, and I was actually just stunned by his, awareness, his experience, and what have you. And now he's 98 years of age, and he's still giving advice to the Malaysian government. But back to my point, this is 1982. And we've got to remember what the statements were that were from the Samoan leadership about their desire to be independent, so to speak.
Yeah.
But here we are, all those years later, and a bill came to Parliament, and my party said, hang on, let's vote for it to see what the people think around the Pacific, and dare I say Samoa, and inside New Zealand.
Yeah. Well,
24,000 submissions have come in, and we know we've taken the right course, and it comes back to Parliament in late October this year. But in the meantime, I want to talk to the Samoan leadership. I want to talk to Prime Minister Fiame, who I'll be seeing very shortly in Japan at the PALM meeting, and others, and find out what do they want, because in the end, they're concerned about depopulation, and then it comes down to, so what category of people will it affect?
Yeah.
And that's a worthy debate to have. And I was actually talking to Tiano from the Green Party, who has a Cook Islands background, as you know, and I said to him, the reason why when you asked us what we do, I said, well, let's see it go to select committee and we'll find out what the people think, which we have. So I think the process is good.
Okay, Honourable Vaovasamanaia Winston Peters, if I may ask you, when you said you want to talk to the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Fiame, Dr. Naomi Mta'afa first, do you rely on what Samoa think, from the government of Samoa think, for this citizenship bill to come to pass?
Well, look, I want to talk to Tualipa as well. I want to talk to the Samoan politicians. I want to know what they all think.
Yeah.
Well, before you rush to judgment, find out what it means for them.
Yeah.
And then try and do the right thing and do it properly. That's all I'm saying to people.
Right.
Don't make up your mind before you've heard the evidence, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's an old English saying, only a fool tests the water with both feet.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been a Pacific saying, right? Find out first.
Yeah. Okay, Vaovasamanaia, as a new member of the National Party at that time and as a lawyer, can you tell us a little bit about the social and political climate at the time? And what was it that led to Robert Muldoon to rush through that 1982 bill to remove New Zealand citizenship for Samoa?
You know something? I wasn't in Parliament at the time. I'd been in Parliament before that.
Yeah.
I was the MP for a place called Hunua, of which 3/4 was Otara. Now, Otara is a very hard seat to keep if you're a member of the National Party, right? Mm-hmm. So for the 2.5 years I was out of Parliament, and when that happened, all I can say to you, I have studied what the Samoan leadership was saying at the time.
Right.
And of course, they were very, very keen to have independence, so to speak. Mm. So it's not quite as everybody says right now. And I'd rather get the narrative right.
Right. Mm. Okay, so now the public have been witnessing the oral submissions to the Select Committee. All of them seems to be in favour. If the written submissions are largely the same as the oral submissions, Honourable Vaovasamanaia Winston Peters, how likely do you see this bill passing the second and third reading, and will New Zealand First support it?
Let me say, we made it very clear that this was a new piece of legislation. It was not caught by the coalition agreement. We didn't have to, therefore, have a discussion with other political parties. It was now a clear political party decision, regardless of what the parties were and where they were in government or not in government. So our position is this: we're going to hear all the evidence. We're going to study the facts. We're going to listen to the Samoan leadership and then make a decision. The question that will become for us, without me forecasting it now, will become, so what category of people will it affect? Will it be those in those critical years who between, I'll just give the dates, between 924 and 1948? Those ones. It'll be those, or will it be all their ancestors?
Yeah.
And I kind of think that the Samoan people that I know would want it to be the people who were affected, just them. But let's find out.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Vaovasamanaia Winston Peters. Now, let me ask you another question. Will New Zealand join Aukus, and how important is this for security in the Pacific?
I'm very pleased you've asked that question, because I became the Foreign Minister late November last year, and I inherited something that was started by a request from the then Ardern government in September of 2021, many years before that. They wanted a report, and they got a report in October 2021, and they said, well, let's examine what Aukus Pillar 2 might mean for us. And month after month, year after year, all the way to the last election, you never heard a word until I inherited and carried on the same process. And all of a sudden, all these so-called experts were saying, this is bad. And my response to them is, so did I hear a mutter or a murmur or a syllable or a sound out of you when Labour was doing precisely what I'm doing? I'm trying to find out whether Pillar 2 has a value for us in terms of science. It is not a matter of military engagement at all.
Yeah.
And here's the point. We haven't even been invited yet. So if we do get invited, the question is, will we join and on what grounds? All that work is being done while a whole lot of people are being rushing off to judgment and alarming the public that this means that we've lost our independent foreign policy. That's not true. How can I prove that? Well, when Labour was doing what I'm doing, exactly the same thing, they never said a word. So stop startling people with misinformation.
Yeah. Okay. I'm aware in mid-March you also met the Chinese foreign minister. Among other things, you also voiced some of New Zealand's concerns about China's human rights in Hong Kong, Xinjiang and Tibet, and tensions in the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. Do you think New Zealand will gain a more authoritative voice when speaking about human rights if it returns New Zealand's citizenship to Samoans, Honourable Vaovasamanaia?
Well, you made an interesting connection there.
Yeah.
You know, in this world, it's often easy to do so-called justice or follow the law. I'll tell you the hardest thing to do sometimes, but the right thing to do is the right thing. we want to do what is right here, and I hope to persuade the members of government on this matter as well, all parties. Let's do the right thing here. We can't fix the past, and that's why we've got a fatal sort of political cocoon we're in now, where everybody's saying we can fix the past, we can fix up the faults of our ancestors. No, we can't. But what we can do is learn from it and make sure going forward we fix things up properly. So, yes, I think New Zealand is stepping up and playing its real role.
Yeah.
Because whatever you might think about New Zealand, all its failures, we know more about the Pacific as a first world country than any other country does. That's a fact. That's not a boast, it's a fact.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Last question, Honourable Vaovasamanaia Winston Peters. You have been very busy with your trip to the Pacific. Please tell us about your recent trips in the Pacific. What was the trip about, please?
So the last one, we went to the Solomon Islands to have a talk to the administration and those involved, including members of the opposition. We also went to open the Sergei Airport, which was a project between New Zealand and Australia, a massive project to build this new airport, and it's really first class, first rate. And we're going to build the reception centres and buildings very soon and have that ready, hopefully, by the end of 2025. It was as hot as anything. You won't believe how hot it was. And on the plane, was their plane, the air conditioning wasn't going. So we went on a sauna on the way there and got a sauna on the way back. Then we went to Nauru, same thing, to re-engage with them and see what we can do and how we can help. And then went to Niue, one of the realm countries, and had meetings. And now I took with me 2 members of the Labour Party, a member of the Green Party, and the head of the Foreign Affairs Committee as well, and one of my colleagues who was the minister, the Associate Minister of Police, Casey Costello. And so we took a bipartisan, cross-party group, and I think, without boasting, they were absolutely delighted that we come with such numbers to listen to them, to have a decent conversation. And it went excellently. Very tiring, I might add. Extraordinarily tiring. And I also might add, when you go to the islands, you must go on a 3-day diet before you even start.
Maybe next time you should go to Samoa.
You got to go on a 3-day diet before you start. Because part of the hospitality, which is a part charming thing, but the hours are long and the travel's long, you know.
Right, Honourable Vaovasamanaia Winston Peters, Whawhatai Tele Lava, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, and good luck to your viewers.
Whawhatai Lava.